been a little sick, like my insides, they've still been kind of messed up, and
Well, you're torn up inside pretty good. You have just a streak down all along your stomach where your stomach's kind of eroded.
I don't want to let my kids bury me.
I love this community. Born and raised and never left and never gonna leave. For me, what I was gonna do was nowhere near as important as where I was gonna do it. There's so much beauty here, and there is so much pain. The first thing I saw was your weight. Are you eating? Are you okay?
Towards the end of the month, I got sort of skinny.
Okay. So
I will admit that.
Food security has been an issue.
Do you want to hear if she gets a fever, if she gets a lot of swelling or redness where she gets the shots, or just if you think there's anything you're really worried about? When I was 8, I read a book on the history of medicine and how they got rid of smallpox, and I thought that was really cool, and I decided to become a doctor, and I really never changed my mind. Do you know you have kitties in your ears? Let me see if you've got kitties in the other one.
Sounds like the motor's running.
Still ticking. You're still alive. I was born and raised in an angry little town in central Iowa. I took off hitchhiking the day after high school. I think I graduated on Friday and I was gone on Saturday. Truck driving was a way to make money. But at 30, I wanted to do something where I just felt a little more connected.
Now I need a favor from you.
Mm-hmm.
Lend me $10.
Again?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that on camera.
Yeah.
It's like a buffet of burritos, Dr. Gammon.
I can see that.
Whatever. And here's some salsa. I'll get some bowls, okay?
We are on the brink of a provider staffing shortage crisis, right? Between now and summer, we're gonna end up being about 8 providers short. I describe it like a bridge, and you have all these trusses, and now you're 8 short. The remaining trusses fill more weight. We've been trying our darndest to recruit, but in the meantime, we fight the good fight. All right.
Hello, Doug.
You walked in today.
How you doing?
Again. You looking?
Hey,
I'm doing good. How are you doing is the big question.
I can't brag. That pain is there, and you can't get rid of it.
Today you said your pain scale's 8. That's a lot of pain. This is nerve pain, or acute pain, has turned chronic now with what we're calling not shingles, but post-herpetic neuralgia, right?
I'm just getting too anxious.
You're not being
I'm getting
patient.
ready to get out there and do some work. A year ago, I painted all the schools in West Las Vegas, all of them, all by myself. She painted all the doors and windows.
I know you live to do your work. You know, I know that that is what feeds you, what keeps you going, probably second in the world to her, right?
You better say that.
Right, you better. So, I don't have a problem with you getting out there and doing some little things. Pace yourself. Because it's still a long race, or at least I hope so, okay?
Hi, George. Chris Trugy over at the clinic. I'd like to touch base with you end of the day sometime. Project Echo is probably the reason I came to New Mexico. The program is designed to work with patients who have significant medical issues, significant psychological issues, and chaotic social situations. The 15-minute visit in the clinic doesn't work with these patients. Okay, go ahead and step up. So 294.
Yes.
So you were 287.
So I'm still putting on the water.
Yeah. So your liver is sick enough that it is not able to perform all the functions it normally performs. And that is the reason your belly filled up with water. Okay. How much salt are you eating? Show me what you eat for breakfast and lunch and stuff. Let's look at your cupboard real quick. Let's look at sodium. This has 1,000 milligrams of sodium. I want you to eat a total of 1,000 milligrams of sodium a day. Each hot dog has 1,100 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of sodium, 800 milligrams of sodium. If you eat the high sodium foods, you're gonna put on more and more and more water. So why don't we avoid all processed meats and pizza?
Okay.
Are you gonna survive doing that for 5 days?
Yeah.
You ever eat breakfast cereal?
I just smoked a cigarette instead.
A cigarette breakfast? I don't think there's any sodium in cigarettes. So that fits into the low sodium diet.
After my wife died, that's when it all went to pots. She killed herself. So I just started drinking. I've already been to detox about 8 or 9 times. Rehab a couple of times and just can't straighten out, I don't know.
Many of our patients have been very sick for a very long time. But occasionally you have to have a patient that you're just overwhelmingly positive as far as where things are going. And with George, I think he's ready for change. I'm willing to bet the bank on him.
Tummy tender at all?
No.
All right, go ahead and sit up. Okay. Any drug or alcohol use?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Which of them?
Drug, I was, used a little bit of, heroin and cocaine.
Okay. What was your trigger?
Well, I showed up late on Thursday.
Okay. So it was just being out of the medications?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. All right, any meetings or counseling?
No.
Any particular reason you haven't been able to make them?
My son was down.
Or was he?
Yeah.
Does he look good?
Yeah, he looks good.
Good.
He's starting to talk more now, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
He
cute.
is. And how's Crystal doing? You still staying at her place?
For the most part.
Okay. So your pulse rate was pretty low today. You tend to run a little bit on the low side, but it was more so today than usual, but your EKG looks perfect. So.
Okay, cool.
So if she ever tries to accuse you of being heartless, you can tell her no, we've got her too. All right, so there's your visit summary and your prescription.
Okay, cool.
Be on time for your appointment. Many physicians don't view treatment of substance use disorder as part of primary care, which I disagree with. Physicians tell me they don't want to see these patients in their waiting room. But sometimes it's the patients who are struggling where really we actually make more of a difference. Most years, Espanola is in the top 5 in the nation for heroin overdoses per capita. And right now, if I were to retire, there's no one who could take on my patients. I grew up in Los Alamos, New Mexico, which is a town with the highest percentage of PhDs in the country. They're one of the few places in New Mexico that has an adequate supply of physicians. And I wanted to be someplace where physicians were really needed. So Espanola seemed a good fit.
Time to make the donuts. Morning, Isaac. How you feeling? Those were some nice soccer moves yesterday, dude.
Put your jacket on. We'll actually make it on time today.
Oh, we're off by 1 button. You did good, though. You did good. You buttoned them all by yourself. We just missed 1 button. I think you need to do your lunch at school today. You need to now. I know you're just excited, but that excitement, if you can't control it, is going to land up getting you in trouble at school. In prison. Yeah, in prison, too. In rural America, trying to recruit is a challenge. We just don't have enough docs. So physician assistants, nurse practitioners, and nurse midwives serve as primary care providers. We kind of got thrown into that role because someone had to do the work. The patients were still there, the illnesses were still there. We're in the trenches on the front line. And the problem in underserved healthcare is that there's no resources and you have to do a whole lot with like nothing. I mean, you guys probably already know what our statistics are, right, in New Mexico? And then you get into rural New Mexico and you see, wow, okay, yeah, there's no work here. And it's an aging population because the educated youth, they move away.
You created this analogy of us being on the front lines in the trenches and this, not saying we don't all want to be there, you know, but then at the same time, what do you think could be a saving grace for the rural parts of New Mexico?
Healthcare is a relationship. So the difference maker is you say, this is my community now, and I want to be part of this community. You guys chose a service field. I don't know if you realized you did that when you did it. You're here now, though. So if you're going to have a satisfying life and career and vocation, I think you guys got to decide now, you know, how do you want to fight? Where do you want to fight? I'll be recruiting you guys. I'll come back for you. Okay? Yeah. I grew up in very rural northern New Mexico. Little small towns, 1,000 people. And then now a big city of Las Vegas, New Mexico. It's too easy to say, well, we're just a statistic, or that's just the way it is here. This community, it's so much a part of who I am. I can't separate myself from it. I could have done a lot of different things besides medicine. I could make a lot of money, I could live wherever I want, but I can't turn my back.
So I was just looking at your upper GI again, and you have a real severe, what they call erosive gastritis from all the alcohol. And the only treatment is no alcohol.
I felt like drinking so bad yesterday.
No, but that's been your fallback for how many years? So it's natural that, when you're in crisis and stuff, that's going to come up as an urge. So a classmate of yours just OD'd?
Yeah, he was a year younger than me. He died in front of his kids and his girlfriend. I went to his rosary, his funeral. It was so awful, his little kids putting on the coffin. It's awful, awful.
I mean, what can I do to help you through the weekend? You sure you have the cell?
You want to come in and I'll grab a marker and we could just put it...
I'll put it on the fridge, too.
Thank you so much for coming out. I needed that.
Good. Let's make it through, okay?
Okay.
Have we met before? No?
This is my son, CJ. He's the one who helps me with everything.
We're trying to keep her in line so you can help.
Yep, he is. He's my helper.
She can help keep you in line, and you can help keep her in line. Sound like a plan? Good. The pilot program, EchoCare, officially ends this year. So far, the insurance companies have foot the bill. The question is, will they continue funding EchoCare?
When I was your guys' age, I was a mess. Probably a lot worse than anyone in here, I would guess. Maybe not. And if not, then you can relate to my story. I started with drugs and alcohol and all of that when I was like 12, 13. Hanging out in arroyos and smoking frajos, right? So I was this little drug-dealing kid starting at being a sophomore when I was slanging coke and had all the things that came with that. Money, and girls, and power, and that was my life. These arroyos right here, this was our stomping grounds. Steve's house, he's in jail right now. A really good friend of mine growing up. And there we passed Brian's house, Brian, my friend that passed away. And then this was my road here into our house. Those two windows up there, the one on the right was my sister's room, the one on the left is my room. This was my great-grandma and great-grandfather's property from here all the way over there, all that field over there, all the way over there. My dad's oldest brother lives over there. Luckily, everybody else has kept their pieces in the family, but yeah, we lost our piece. Yeah, my dad was an addict, bad by that time. And my mom couldn't pay the bills fast enough. We just kept falling further and further behind on the mortgage. And after fighting for it for so long, my mom just decided she had to let it go. My mom got a divorce. My dad was homeless for a while, lived in a car. One day we came home and the house had been broken into. And my rifle and the microwave and all kinds of stuff was gone. And then we realized who the thief was. It was my dad. And so we went looking for him. We found him at the El Rancho bar. My dad had an old station wagon. That's what he was living in. And all our stuff was in the station wagon. And that was a bad day, too. Yeah. My brothers beat the crap out of him. And I couldn't handle even watching it, so I just took off running down the road, crying. But, yep. "5 weeks ago, my dad got really sick again. And all the writing on the wall was that it was opiate overdose. I made a decision to call his provider and let him know what I was seeing. My dad called me very quickly afterwards, and he disowned me again for having made that phone call.
Were you just making that sound, or was the coffee ready? Oh. Oh boy. 7 a.m., huh?
How's that mouth looking? Good.
It hurts like hell, though.
The rotten teeth have a significant impact on a lot of your other issues, including inflammation in other parts of the body.
Oh, you need some tissue?
Hi there. So how long were you in the hospital? Boy, you've been gone forever.
2 weeks.
Yeah. How often are you going to the ER?
Every other night.
Was that for shortness of breath? Or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm chest pain.
Yeah.
You know, then when your doctor is just like, oh, you know, he's one of those that doesn't give a damn.
You can always change doctors.
True.
Anybody but me.
Why not you?
Yeah, I'd work you.
That'll be fine. I don't care. That would be good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hello, George. It's Chris. Hello. Door's locked. How you doing?
Not good. I don't know what's wrong with me, and I'm stupid or something.
No, alcoholism, it's a disease. If it was easy to stop drinking, we wouldn't have people drinking until they die. Well, I don't think you want to die, but your liver right now is real sick. And just doing this once a week could kill you.
You mad at me?
No. I'm not mad at you. I'll never get mad at you. That's not my job. My job is to try to keep you alive. Okay?
Okay.
When
When you are finished recording, you may press pound for more options.
Hi, George. Chris Ruge over at the clinic. I'm just touching base. It's Sunday. Go ahead and call directly to my office phone. I'm in here today. Hello?
Game on. Oh, they've already scored. Who did? Well, you'll have to come home and see. I graduated from midwifery school, and there was an opening at Chinle Indian Health Service Hospital. The first night there, they said, watch out for the guy in the ER. Stay away from him. And that, of course, was Chris. We had been together 4 months when I got pregnant. When our oldest was 3, Chris was working down in Springfield, which is inner city poor. He was working with the HIV population. He just started putting in more and more hours. It was like being a single parent. He'd come in 1, 2 in the morning. There came a time when I just really felt it was going to be our marriage or his job. Then he got an offer out here in New Mexico, and El Centro hired us both. When he left, I think 2 people took over his job, or 3.
Just a little bit of updates in terms of staffing. Thank you all for holding things together. We were already short with having lost Kristen, and we were already short because in trying to meet the needs of this community that's in dire straits and has lost yet again another primary care provider, we already had expansion positions, and those are still vacant. I want to give thanks to Leora. She's sought other employment, but now she's extended to help us out, and she's going to be here. Originally, her last day was going to be January 20th, and now she's working through the end of February. It's not uncommon for a provider to come and work a year and then resign. And so that's created a big problem. The evidence is really clear. You're much more likely to retain someone if they're from that community. So I started the Semillas de Salud program, creating health career clubs in all of our local schools. So if you need help with that, in terms of learning to go through that,
Yeah, I talked to my teacher for that last week.
This is about phlebotomy. You're going to learn about phlebotomy. You learn about the healthcare field of being a laboratory technician. So that's what we're going to be working with today is blood. When I was learning blood draw in school, the thing that someone said that helped me the most, it's like shooting pool.
You got to go in real smooth, and then you're going to pop in this one. Don't shake, it's okay.
Have a good one. Good, and you? Good. Good.
See, have you seen our drug screens?
If it's negative, there's 2 lines. If it's a positive, there's no line. So positive opiates can be codeine, it can be hydrocodone, it can be morphine, it can be heroin. Patients who are on pain pills, I test every 6 months. Patients who are on buprenorphine, I test them every time I see them. I am doing well. How about you?
I'm doing real good.
Good. So, any particular concerns?
No, not at all.
Okay. And any drug or alcohol use?
No.
Okay. And buprenorphine still working well for you?
Mm-hmm.
And what have you been doing over the summer?
Driving buses.
Yeah.
So I stayed busy all summer.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
I can barely park my minivan. There's no way I could do a school bus.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
What school do you work for?
Espanola schools, I drive
Espanola.
school buses for them, yeah.
Okay.
And I've done a lot of physical labor, concrete trucks and propane companies. And with me, I broke my hand. I started using opiates for the pain. Believe me, I didn't wake up one day and said, I want to be a drug addict. That's not what happened, But before you know, I needed them just to get out of bed. Now I work every day. I go to the gym. I don't go through depression. I'm happy in my family life. So,
All right. So I will see you back in 2 months, soon if you've got any
Okay.
problems, and then you're also scheduled with Miss Joy.
Have a good day.
You too. Being exposed to alcoholism and addiction at a young age did a lot to lessen the stigma of it for me. My grandfather, who I adored, would take me with him to AA meetings. And because my grandfather got sober and did so well, I always viewed addiction as a treatable disease. For a long time in medicine, we just kind of flung up our hands and didn't think we could do anything. But I always viewed it as something where there was hope and, you could get people drug or alcohol free. When I started prescribing buprenorphine, I was so happy to finally have something that we could do to treat these patients. I thought when people learned about it, everybody would rush to do it, but it's not been as many as I'd hoped. We need to dramatically increase the number of providers who are treating an opioid use disorder. I work in a community that has a lot of opiate overdoses. And I must admit, my big interactions with opiate addicts, as we were calling them at the time, was the people who came into my office trying to scam me for Percocet. And what I found is once I started offering treatment, you make a difference like nothing else you do in medicine. I have been treating high blood pressure for 25 years now. I have never once had somebody come into my office and say, thank you so much for getting my blood pressure under 140/90. It means so much to me. But I have people come into my office several times a month and say, Dr. Hayes saved my life.
What are you up to?
No good.
No good?
You get tired of being a good guy all the time. Everything's working out the way you planned it, the way you thought it would. I'm able to do a few things. Probably not get up on a roof. I feel that I'm not quite ready now, but I'm getting there.
You're the expert. Power tools, operating heavy equipment. If you feel impaired, you shouldn't do them. But if you're not feeling impaired, again, I trust your judgment on that.
I built all these houses you see here, plus the ones on the next street. I make a lot of crazy things. That's the window to my door. And got another window and door up there identical to this. And that's the balcony where my wife and I sit there in the evenings. These are the little things I was telling you about. The urns. They're for ashes when someone passes away. That's something that I'm doing because of what I'm going through. That's not what I do all the time. I served 3 years here in the States and 1 in Japan. I had the opportunity of seeing what was left of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. When I got out of the service, I asked my family and I asked everyone else that I would talk to not to ever complain about anything. Today is one of my very worst days. I had a hard time just getting up. But the more you stay in bed, the sicker you get.
Hi, be careful. No, Glory. She likes partying with me. He's really old. How old is he? I got him 9 years ago. So he's about 9. Hi, Mambo. Okay. I got a month and 4 days clean and sober today. But my mom, she got kicked out of her house for fighting, drunk, and now she's like trying to come, back and hang out. She came around the other day and I see her with the bottle and it's like everything that I drink, and it's still hard for me.
How did you stay sober? How did you stay not drinking?
My son, seen him playing basketball and stuff, I just stayed there.
Good. And then do you have your meds? I can
Yes.
peek at them? Where are they at? So why don't you kind of separate them, read them off to me?
Mirtazapine
Mirtazapine, the Remeron. Okay.
and the phenofibrate.
Yep. Okay.
And then the metropol.
Yeah, now are you taking that
Yes.
consistently? Good. And if anything seems to bother your stomach a little bit, make sure you have something in your
and
stomach when you take it.
Excipiopram.
Yep, that's for depression.
Yes.
That's the Lexapro. Yep.
Okay. And then I'm taking, these ibuprofens, a friend gave them to me. But I don't take them.
Yeah, and they'll just get you in trouble.
Christmas, you ready for Christmas? I already know what you want.
Of course.
He wants a PlayStation, but they're expensive.
Not a 4, a 3.
So I've been saving money out of every check to try to get him. He's been through a lot. He's the one who had to be the parent when I was at my worst. He would take care of me.
When she would be laying down, I would ask her if she needed anything, and I would lay by her all night. Make sure if she needed to throw up, she had a bunch of throw up bags inside of the bathroom. In case she needed to throw up, I would run and get one. And just to keep her safe, I would keep the phone by my side and lay with her all night until I go to school.
I put him through a lot. But I will not do that no more. I love him so much.
For 3 years now, the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning is my sister. Is she okay? Maya and I grew up very close. I'm the big brother, very protective big brother. In some ways, maybe a little bit of caregiver relationship too.
I got it. If you want to go hang out with them.
It started when she would come around to less family things, and when she would, she was just acting funny. She did eventually let us know that she had been on meth.
What I've experienced the past 3 years was hard for all of us. I went through a separation, and so my kids, they spend the majority of their time right now with their father, and I want to be an active part in their lives more. That hope, that's all I have.
Maya, you ready to eat?
We'd set it up for her to go to an inpatient program. And then she ended up spending time with my dad, and my dad and her kind of convinced each other that she shouldn't do that. It becomes a family disease.
Okay, now just breathe normal.
have a question for you, Chris.
Yes.
Why was it you requested some drug testing for me?
I do drug tests on everyone who does pain meds. It's actually a state requirement now, every 3 months.
That's fine, Chris. That's
Yeah.
fine. You know, if it's required, that's fine with
Yeah.
me. But for me to get my EOB and all this stuff is on there, I'm like, why does Chris think I'm on drugs?
No,
you know, and I got very offended with that because
Okay.
I don't do drugs.
Yeah, so what you check for is any medicine you're being prescribed. And if there's a narcotic medicine I don't prescribe that's in your urine, then I can't prescribe what I'm doing.
Okay.
So but that's what that's about. Okay?
And on the hydrocodone, Chris,
Yeah.
you're only giving me 3 a day, and that's not helping me. I need more. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, I'm in a lot of pain,
Yeah.
and I don't exaggerate about that. I am in a lot of pain, and I definitely need more. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm probably not.
So if you can raise it up to 4 a day, I'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You know, 1 more day.
Well, the
it's
problem.
Not like,
Yeah. The problem with long-term narcotics is that it actually increases your pain. So the more you take, actually the more pain you feel because it what we call hyperactivates your pain receptors. So it could be that you would feel better for a couple weeks or a month or 2 on 4. But then you would actually feel worse. And then the only thing that would make you feel better is for that dose to go up. Some people put patients on pretty high narcotics, but kind of looking at you when I do visit and stuff, I don't think you need more narcotics on board.
All right, man. Well, it's the normal routine, which you have not had. I don't know if you even remember the last time you and I had an annual performance review together.
Right.
But then we start with, how are you? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of your family? Are you balanced?
Of course.
Yeah.
Work and family.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever evolve out of that. I've never totally been able to balance family and work, but that's because I've always sensed a lot more need on the work side of that equation.
At the tone, please record your voice message.
Hi, this is Chris Ruge over at the clinic. I'm just trying to find Miss Sherry. When I'm unable to contact Sherry, I definitely worry. When she totally disappears, it's more likely than not that things fell apart again.
It's been a very rough week for my family. A very rough week.
Santa Fe County deputies arrested 5 people for identity theft last week. Edward Lucio, Gino Bear Gonzalez, Johnny Moreno, Danielle Schroeder, and Maya Probst were all arrested for identity theft. Deputies believe they worked together to steal bank statements, credit cards, and checks from people's mailboxes.
Stolen goods for drugs scheme is what the media is calling it. She got out of jail, but she's in a hole. She lost her house, lost her job, and she lost custody of the kids. When somebody's sick, when somebody's dealing with addiction, you want so bad to believe that they're okay. That it's easy to convince yourself that they are. It's been a tough week for sure.
Hey, how's it going? Good. Anything in particular going on, or just your for routine prenatal?
Routine prenatal and refill.
That's not whiskey, Mom.
And how's the baby moving?
Good. Relax. It's not.
And I forgot, does he have a name yet?
No.
Okay.
Want to do a butterfly? Yes.
And has anyone hit, kicked, or otherwise abused you?
Besides her, no. What's that?
Baby lion.
That's a baby lion.
And buprenorphine still working well for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Any cravings?
I mean, it's always there in the back of my mind. The pills or whatever else.
Okay.
But knowing I'm pregnant, like I wouldn't want to do anything to put them in jeopardy.
All right. Are you going to push the button for me? Hey, you found it first time. The general media perception of women who use drugs during pregnancy is that they're selfish, awful people who don't care about their baby at all. But when you actually talk with the women, the vast majority are so desperate to get drug-free so that they can take care of their baby, but they're just overwhelmed by it. And he is head down. So.
Is he okay?
I find if we're giving them support and they're getting treatment, it's by far and away the most motivated group you will ever find. All right, so I will see you next week.
Okay.
Here's mothers everywhere.
Happy Mother's Day.
Cheers.
And happy Emmy's Home Day.
As a parent, I've had some incredible role models in my patients.
Whoa. No spoilers. Hello.
I have seen many truly wonderful parents through the years with far fewer resources than I've had, and I've tried to emulate them.
Is this your new tattoo?
Yeah. Yeah, the only one that hurt was like the one down here. Like I thought the ribs were gonna hurt, but they didn't.
It's also given me some perspective. I don't care about what hairstyle they want or tattoos, because I've seen parents dealing with so many more difficult things. I think it sometimes makes the kids a little crazy. When my daughter went away to school, I insisted that she carry Narcan with her.
That's my dogs.
I don't want her to ever have someone in her dorm overdose and not be able to take care of it.
What you want to do in your healthcare career, and I think probably just in life in general, is you want to create a solid foundation of knowledge. And then you start building on that solid foundation of knowledge. Who in here butchers animals for their meat, right? Okay. The best experience I had for medical procedures was being Grandpa's assistant as the butcher's assistant growing up. Yeah.
Is he moving me? Gallbladder, stomach, fat. What's this?
Lomo.
Cat is so fat.
Your cat does have a lot of fat.
Our cat was so unhealthy.
It could have just been diet, but it could have had a disease process too.
Thank you for my,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Oh, thank her. She's
Sorry.
amazing.
I don't know, she wants to go in for
Teeth?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I want her more like a nurse.
Well, I think that EMT is a good place to start because those credits apply to nursing. So you start with this 1-year certificate, then you can keep going. And you can go paramedic or nursing or medical. She's gonna end up being an ER physician eventually. She thinks EMT, and that's good to start there, but she'll probably be an ER doc.
Okay, you need to tell her.
I know. Anything I can do.
You're gonna carry the calf again? Yes. Come on, baby. Get up. You waited this day.
I would think that growing up in the ranch is a good training to go into medicine because you're exposed to a lot more animals, a lot more bodies, a lot more home remedies. I started thinking about becoming an EMT from being in this Amidst program. And over the years, that passion has just grown. In 2011, my grandfather was diagnosed with leukemic cancer. As the years progressed, it just got worse and worse. I would call the ambulance knowing it's going to be an hour and a half before they get to our house or even find our house. So I want to go into the medical profession because this community is so far from medical help.
Ready to go home? Yeah, I'm ready to go home.
This is the nurse advice line. I have George that wants to talk to you, and he says that he fell off the wagon. He's been drinking a lot. He's having lots of anxiety. I'll just tell him that I left you a message. Thank you.
So you didn't have anything to drink yesterday before that?
Yesterday? No, the day before.
Yeah.
Just how you know how I get with anxiety.
Yeah.
Then I think I'm going through withdrawal too, just like I said I was.
That's not a surprise. So, did you talk to the knee guy?
I sure haven't.
Yeah. When are you gonna do that?
Tomorrow.
Do you know what days of the week they're there?
Thursday.
So tomorrow's Wednesday. Why don't you call him while I'm here?
Okay, I don't have a phone. That's why you have me.
Oh, okay. You out of minutes?
Yeah.
So, what's next?
Rehab.
Is it?
Said, yeah.
Have you talked to anybody?
No, I haven't.
So, what do you think you want to do over the next 4 weeks?
The next 4 weeks, I think I should start attending Rio Grande at least. Think?
I'm done thinking.
I know.
I want you to start thinking. You're not placed on the earth to make me happy, right? You're on here for your own purpose and your own reasons. Whew. That was a big ouch. What's pretty obvious is we're not really out of the fire at all. Unfortunately, what has been happening over the last 6 to 9 months is a worsening trend with liver tests.
This patient sounds a little bit different. I guess what I would do, Chris, is
We're trying to brainstorm and come up with something to turn things around.
the idea of taking the medication. Was there something else going on at the time that made
The news, which was a little bit of a surprise, might mean that the Echo Care program will totally dissolve. It might mean that they change the heavy emphasis on home visits. If it ended, it would likely lead to the early death of a lot of our patients.
I had a relapse and I was scared to come back in. I messed up again.
So,
I don't know, I was doing so good. And then
how many days were you drinking this time?
I 2 weeks, almost 3 straight. Oh yeah, I messed up bad.
Yeah, okay. Well, why don't we do this one step at a time? But the first thing we need is to get you in here, at least every 2 weeks. Weekly would be great because I think then you can get things taken care of.
I don't have transportation.
But this is the thing, if we can get things set up and we can actually get you meaningful employment here, we can solve the other problems as they come up. But the number one thing is getting money in your pocket, okay? Because if we keep on waiting to do this until this happens, but we can't do that until this other happens, then time flies and you get frustrated and more depressed, and then bad things happen. So.
Yeah, I haven't had my medicine, so as I said, it's awful.
Well, let's fix it then.
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been ready.
I know.
You know, this is going to be our first Christmas just with you and me.
These rituals, the cooking rituals of holidays. We should just cook, but then just give it all away and then go to Mexico.
Well, what is it about holidays that make you uncomfortable, Chris? I mean, why do you think you don't like Christmas?
I don't know.
Or birthdays?
We've, for 20 years, have worked with communities that when we finish, we go home. We go home to a different reality. We escape that reality.
I mean, you show a tenderness and a sacrifice for your patients that, you don't give to your family because I think you feel that there's that guilt and that we have everything that they don't.
It's as yesterday, working with my patient with such a tragic life that she's caught up in. It's like watching someone stuck in quicksand and you're on dry land at a table with a margarita and saying, God, that's really tragic.
You hardly do that to your patients.
No,
How
I
could
know,
you do more? By living with them?
But you walk away. I don't know. Like if I knew in my heart of hearts that bringing my patient and her 13-year-old home for like a month would like totally put their life in another direction and totally change their reality forever, I think I'd argue for it.
Well, and you'd have quite a list.
Yeah.
It's really sort of flabbergasting that there's guilt on you for, how could you work any harder?
So as you all know, we're having peer reviews for opiate prescription. We're going to go through that process of peer review. We're going to learn. We're going to revise our guidelines. With the history of opiates, there's been a big shift. And this is near and dear to me, okay? This is near and dear to me, this issue right here. My dad died 2 days ago, guys. So my dad died 3 days ago on Sunday. And he died most likely of an accidental overdose death. And this is something that I've been knowing about for a long time, that he would take it his own way. And he was his own guy, and everything he did, including how he thought was best to take pills. And I told him, and I told his provider, and I told everybody I could tell, but nonetheless, that's what happened. And I don't want that to happen again. I don't want that to happen to my patients, to my family, to my community.
Dad, I made a timeline of him.
You made a timeline?
Yeah, look it.
I said
That's
we
the one you
start
said you
laying
liked.
them down and then rearranging them.
Okay. Your grandpa Bebo grew up on the farm there. He spent a lot of time when he was a little boy on the farm. This whole farm that your great-grandpa had is where I grew up, and all that whole area in the Poaka Valley is nothing but our relatives.
This one, Dad.
Well, that one's grandpa when he was young. Mm-hmm.
He had a unibrow like
Huh?
me.
Like all of us, that's part of the legacy is a unibrow.
Daddy, I know who that is. You could recognize it's you.
Yeah.
Daddy used to
Okay.
have a mullet.
I know I had a mullet, dude. I was proud of my mullet.
If you
I wanted to
would've
be
just
just
kept
like
your
Grandpa
hair
Bebo with a
intact.
mullet.
That is Auntie Maya.
That's Auntie Maya, that's right.
Which one is yours? Let's go brush your teeth and I'll get it. Let's go get you all ready for bed.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stories. It was a good thing learning responsibility as a young person. Maybe it made me too serious. You shouldn't be working a chainsaw at 10 years old. You shouldn't be, there's some things. You shouldn't be selling cocaine when you're a sophomore in high school to pay the mortgage. Saw a lot of awful things. There'd be big fights going on, and my sister would come crawl in bed with me and just hold her and try and love her, the way a parent should.
This is the email from Project Echo that came to the teams. Actually, it says, "We are sad to relay the news that the Echo Care program will be concluding at the end of June. Ongoing efforts to negotiate continued contracts with the insurance companies have been unsuccessful. Please accept our deepest gratitude for your commitment to the most underserved patients in our communities." So the program's kaput in 3 months.
Or do you need to kick something?
No,
You can't kick me,
I'm not kicking.
but you can hug me.
I'm not kicking.
I need a really nice big glass of
Well, Matt came in and said, so, big news, huh?
Had you heard?
No, to which I said, what? He says, yeah, didn't get the email. So I opened up my email, and as he was talking to me, he goes, ding.
I mean, what does this mean for you?
That's what we have to figure out. We don't know yet. It's just an unknown. Hello?
I just went out for a beer with the Echo Care team.
Uh-huh.
We're sort of licking our wounds a little bit.
It's frustrating and a little sad that people really didn't get the big picture here.
I know. Andre and I were talking about attachment theory, and then it
Yeah.
was like, you know, a lot of the intervention has really been about persuading these patients to attach to somebody and actually experience what it feels like to be
Yeah.
cared about and to trust somebody.
Yep. Yep.
Now, of course, we're going to pull the rug out from under them once again.
Again, confirm their
Yeah, that they were right to begin with.
their fears, yeah.
Okay, so the next part is what are we going to do about Echo Care?
I think it's an obvious benefit to our patients. Our satisfaction surveys, our hospitalization numbers, our ER numbers are all pretty darn good.
From the taking care of humans aspect, this is working for us. This is a successful model.
That's true, but to sustain the program, it has to be financially feasible. It doesn't have to make money, it has to just break even.
Right.
And I want to keep the program going because I think we're making a real positive impact into these patients' lives. But financially, it has to be feasible.
Right. Right.
Hey!
How are you?
Good, how are you?
No, I'm fine.
What happened? I saw you 2 days before he landed in the hospital, and he was doing good that day.
I took him in because he said he couldn't breathe,
Uh-huh.
and the lung had already collapsed.
Well, I'm glad I could be here. I thought you were gonna give the clinic a facelift and some of those nice doors like you have at your house. Our clinic needs some character.
Well, I will when I have time, because I'm backlogged.
You got jobs and jobs piled up.
I'll file them.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I have a patient that as their physical body withers, they become more alive, brighter, they're light. The one thing medicine has intrigued me is how to find that. I'm always looking for that in myself. I want to find that light. I think it's something we're all looking for.
Well, I want to make sure that you find it.
I barely got to the hospital in time to have him. I don't think I was there maybe 45 minutes.
Oh, man.
And I almost had him without a doctor, too.
Okay, so anything you're worried about with them?
No.
Okay, great.
Hey, handsome.
Then how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
And any druggies?
No.
Okay.
Now it's just an adjustment to have the two of them. A big adjustment.
I was amazed how much more work two was than one, so.
It's hard work dealing with a brand new baby and a toddler at the same time. It's a lot of work. But I love it. I don't think I would trade anything for the world for this.
Good morning again, folks. We have with us in the studio students from West Las Vegas, the school-based health center. Tiffany, can you share with the audience what your interest is in the medical field?
I live way out in the country with my grandparents, so I want to go into EMS and help out the rural community.
I know there's a lot of despair. How will we survive in rural America and rural New Mexico? Right now, we export our most precious resource, and that's our educated youth. They got to move away because there's nothing here to do. Well, you know what there's here to do? Healthcare. This is the thing that I'm the most proud of. These youth and Tiffany in specific. Our biggest recruitment success has been Simia's Salud. Right now, we have 9 people lined up for interview. And of the 9, 2 have already accepted. You're going to write down all your questions. I'll answer them as we go. So this is Melody, and she's our new provider. Go ahead and open say off for me and stick out your tongue. Can you put it out? Oh, we did this last time, huh? You don't have sore throat today. Oh, I don't need to torture you. Put your head back and let me look in your nose, though.
Okay.
I'll show you this too, Melody. Yeah. So we got the ear infection.
When's the last time you went this long?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
This is the longest that I've been clean and doing, doing great. And, found out I'm going to get a full-time job.
That's great.
I really want to finish school and,
Okay.
study at night.
You have a laptop now?
Yeah, but I don't know how to use it.
Bring it out. Turn it on.
It's like an older one, so.
Older. Holy cow. This is like in one of the sci-fi movies or something.
I'm just happy it's going great now, and my son sees a difference, everything.
She doing good? Yeah.
Thank
Keep it
you.
up. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Call me if anything comes up.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Grandpa B. How are you doing down there?
It sounds like you have a pocket full of Grandpa Bebo's favorite things. Maybe you should leave him one. Let's all think of one thing we remember.
His favorite candies?
Mm-hmm. What about you, Mom?
Oh, there's a lot of things. His big heart and his delicious food. And
I was
how
gonna say,
kind
Chile
he
relleno
was.
casserole.
Yes.
It's good to cry, dude. Because of the way my dad died, left this taste of all the hurt. As time has passed, all of that is becoming much more distant, and what's becoming more clear is all the things that my dad was. My dad was an amazing artist. He was charismatic, and I had no doubt he loved us. He gave Isaiah his first haircut. While Liz was in school and I was taking my first physician assistant job, my dad would come all the way from Santa Fe to take care of the kids. There was a story that I had heard about. There's 3 kinds of people. There's sheep, which always think everything's gonna be okay. And then there's wolves that prey on the sheep. And then there's sheepdogs that will do anything and give their life to protect the sheep. We like to think that we're one. But the truth is that every one of us has all three of those inside of us. My dad, he had sheepdog mode, don't get me wrong. The one that's gonna win that battle inside of us is the one you feed the most.